Hi, welcome to the Christmas edition of Heart of Gold. I'm Paul Schartz here. Jennifer Gripsover and Pete Clark from ITN are with us. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
We've had ITN on before. I know the great things that you do. And you've been with ITN since March?
Since March, yes. I joined in March.
And there's a lot of nonprofits out there. What made you select ITN?
Well, a number of different things. It was kind of matched up with where I am in my life. My parents have both moved to a senior living community. I'm a lot more aware of the senior services industries. For me, my work has never just been a job. I always want to do something that's very mission driven, so of course nonprofit made sense, but in this role I'm able to help seniors to stay engaged in their lives, and you know, that's really important to me.
It is a huge thing. And what does ITN stand for?
It's the Independent Transportation Network, and that's one of our most common questions. You know, what does ITN mean? And our mission is both to protect the public from those who shouldn't be driving, and also to ensure that seniors can get where they want to go when they want to get there.
Seniors have earned the right and respect to receive our respect, but it's not always that way. People can look at them as a burden or as a this and as a that, and they've lived productive, great lives, fostered families and kids, and are former educators and made contributions, and during their retirement, now what? And they get stuck, and thanks to you and a lot of other organizations, they don't need to be stuck.
Well, and we call it dignified transportation because what we do through our services is we offer people choices. You know, many times someone will not want to go out in the evening because they don't want to have to ask their son or their daughter to take them. They don't want to feel like a burden. So when they have ITN, they have the choice and the freedom to go and do things that they want to do, not just the things they have to do. Because I think it's not quite as hard for folks to ask for a ride to a doctor's appointment from a son or a daughter, but to say, well, I want to go out and play cards or something, well, that feels a little selfish. Well, you know, we transport people for any reason. We do not restrict rides based on the reason somebody wants to take a ride, and we provide service 365 days a year, 24/7.
Which is amazing. And Pete, you are a volunteer driver.
Correct.
You have a good driving record.
Yes, I do, fortunately.
How long you been with ITN?
I'll be 2 years this January. I got started, I saw an article in the local Herald Leader about ITN, and it was between Christmas and New Year's, and I just kind of looked at it, and I said, well, I'll put it aside, and I got to thinking about it, and I said, well, you know, that's something I can do. I'm old enough that I can understand having a certain amount of independence, and just one thing led to another, and I ended up started driving for them.
Well, good for you. How many days a week do you work?
Right now, I'm just getting back in it. I had some surgery on my shoulder, and I didn't drive since July. But in the wintertime, I was doing it a couple times a week, maybe 3 rides per time. Just kind of depended.
Daytime shifts, nighttime shifts?
Daytime.
Yep. What does an average ride look like for you? Is it to the doctor, to the Kroger? What does it look like?
It's more to doctors, but it's not just doctors. There's a couple times I've taken to Kroger's. There's one gentleman that I took a couple times, and he went up to a restaurant, and his buddies that he'd known for a long time, they'd eat lunch and probably talk politics, you know, and then, you know, there's doctors and variety.
When you drive them, do you wait for them, or do they have their meal or have their appointment and then somebody else comes and picks them up?
Correct. I will drive them to, say, point A and drop them off, take them inside, then I'll go to somebody else to
Okay.
2, and they may be going to a hospital or wherever they're going, and somebody else will come along and pick them up. It's kind of set up that you always have time built around. They go to a doctor's office, and they may say, well, I'm supposed to get out at 2, but we better make it 2:30 because they could run late, which often
Doctors
happens.
run late?
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Well, I have this vision of seniors climbing into one of your vehicles and saying, Pete, we're not going to Kroger, we're going to the casino. So let's go, and we'll see in a little while. What geographic restrictions do you have? Is it Fayette County? Is it the MSA? How far out do you take people?
So we cover the full area of Fayette County, and then a little bit of northern Jessamine as far south as Brandon Crossing.
Okay. And how do people find you? Is it a website? Is it a phone number? What's the best way to reach you?
Well, so both actually, Paul. So we have a really great website, itnbluegrass.org, where we have all kinds of information about the services we offer, online applications, list of our pricing, all of that kind of thing. Also, you can call 859-252-8665 and talk to somebody. Just depends on how you like to get your information. If you prefer the web or you prefer the phone.
What kind of ridership? You've only been there since March, but you seem like you know what's going on with your background and research.
Sure.
What kind of ridership do you have normally in a 12-month period?
So on a month-to-month basis, we have 140 unique riders in a month. So that means we have 400 and some members. It's a membership organization, so people join. So we have 400 members, but not everybody rides in any given month. So around 140 people are, take rides in a given month, and then we deliver somewhere between 9,000 and 10,000 rides in a year.
That is amazing. You reach a point that you finally understand and appreciate seniors. When people are younger, they're in their own world and they've got their parents who might be in their 50s and 60s and are still mobile. But when you look at grandparents' age and start to think about they can't drive anymore for whatever reason, whether it's safety or their restricted mobility, and to think about anybody being stuck in a home and not being able to get out. Thank goodness for you.
Yeah.
Glad to do it.
Yeah. Well, we talk about what it's like to drive somebody, and it's a really nice experience for us.
Very interesting. I had one the other day. A lady got in, and we started. I said, "Were you from Lexington originally?" "No, so I'm from Wisconsin." And okay. First thing, well, I guess you're a big Green Bay Packer. Oh yeah, and then just kind of goes from there. And every person is different.
With the advent of Uber and Lyft, are seniors tapped into that world now, or are they preferring that they get a consistent driver who really appreciates what their living conditions are?
Well, our transportation is designed specifically with seniors in mind. We go all the way to the door. We introduce ourselves. We help the person to come down the walkway to the vehicle. We assist them into the vehicle. Every aspect of what we do is designed with a senior in mind.
Yes.
There's no money exchanged in the car. People call us on the phone to schedule their rides. And they can call us back to change something. With Uber and Lyft, you have to be very facile with a smartphone. You have to be comfortable paying, in that fashion.
Yes.
And also Uber and Lyft, they'll pull up to the curb and they'll honk typically. They won't come help somebody.
Either way, in or out, right.
Right, and we carry packages. We do all kinds of things, and we go above and beyond. There have probably been times where you thought you were going to do a certain thing when you got to the person's house, and maybe they ask you to help with something else. We do that kind of thing. So we do have some of our riders who will use Uber and Lyft from time to time, but that's usually just if they can't, if there's a time where we're booked up. they prefer using us.
We're going to talk into volunteers in a minute. How many great volunteers do you have like Pete?
About 40.
40? Mm-hmm. And what age range and any certain demographic?
So I would say most of our volunteers are, say, 60 to 70.
Mm-hmm.
Really, they're young retired. To me, that's young retired, and they're, they have the time to donate, and they want to stay engaged in life themselves and do something meaningful. So that's our typical volunteer. We have a few who are younger, some in the 50s.
Some older, like myself. It's a way of giving back.
Absolutely.
That's, that's what it boils. That's what got me started.
And you've got to feel great at the end of each day about what you've done for somebody or some people about helping them get out into the community.
I get as much back as I give.
Yeah.
So I don't have that greatness. I mean, it's just interesting.
Well, I heard recently you volunteer for the love, not for the reward.
That's probably true.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, everybody that sits in those seats, they get more out of it than the people that they're serving.
Right.
It's really amazing. If you would please give, we got a couple minutes, if you please give your website and phone number again for people that need rides, have parents, grandparents that need rides, and or people that want to volunteer for ITN.
Right, absolutely. So also for volunteers, you can go to our website at www.itnbluegrass.org, and we also have a link for volunteers and an online volunteer application, or if you're a family member and you want to talk about your mom or dad, getting them signed up, same thing, itnbluegrass.org, or call us at 859-252-8665.
And Pete, to wrap up, you've got some great stories. Tell us one that really has touched your heart about somebody that you've helped.
Wow. There's so many, and it's just kind of hard for me to draw and do it, but it's like you said, it's just as much rewarding to me as it doing it for them. But here's a good example. I picked up a guy yesterday. His last name, I recognized his name. I said, "Well, do you know Tom?" He said, "Well, that's my brother. I'm his older brother." And I picked him up, and he got in. I was taking him home, and he said, "Yeah, I got to stop and get my prescription to get some glasses." He'd had surgery. And I said, "Well, where are you going?" And he says, "Well, it's at Visions." I said, "Well, it's just right out Nicholasville Road." I said, "I'm at the end of the line today, and I'll just take him." So we chit-chatted, and I saved him a trip, and he was able to go in. He didn't get his glasses, but he got his prescription. He'll go back in a couple of days. It's just things like that.
That's fantastic. Well, Jennifer and Pete, thank you.
Thank you.
And if you remember, you're a Green Bay Packer fan. My dad's from Green Bay. I'm a Packer fan. I'm Paul Chartier. We'll be right back on Heart of Gold.